and welcome. My name is Neil Thrussell, and I'm excited to have Alexander Ford with me, who is a co-founder and I love this, the head genius, at Measurable Genius. And I'm gonna put it out there. I love Alexander's genius because I didn't know what gating was on ads, and I was like, "What? You can do that?" And it was like on Facebook ads, I was like, "You can gate something and fence it all in." Well, that's crazy. So welcome, Alexander.
Thanks for having me, Neil. It's good to be here.
Yeah. So let's just jump right in because we both know 20 minutes isn't a very long time. Um, so I'm going to ask you to think of a younger version of yourself, the junior high, the high school, the college, prior to just a version of you that you can think of that had some form of measurement of success or not. So, this younger version of you, what do you think he thought success looked like?
That's super easy for me because I've been um, trying to figure this out from like a very young age. When I was 6 years old, I was helping my dad run his Shoppers Drug Mart pharmacy here in Calgary. And by run, I mean I was Santa's little helper, and I stocked some shelves, and um, I would carry boxes around the warehouse and try to convince people to let me fill the cardboard compactor up because that was like fun and cool shit to do, you know? And from there, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go figure out how to make money. I ran like a leaf blowing business with my friends, and I did all the traditional stuff like shovel sidewalks. And I was pretty convinced that success looked like um, doing whatever I wanted whenever I wanted it. And um, mostly telling all of the authority figures in my life where to go because I was obviously smarter than all of them. And uh, like, it seemed like really ideal at the time for me to like go um, be my own boss. If I was in charge of my own destiny and I was making the decisions and people were listening to me instead of me listening to them, that was success. It was a fairly blunt object, but it got me rolling. It was a fairly useful perspective to have in that I went out and I took on challenges, but as you can imagine, like some of that is a little exaggerated, and there's definitely been lots for me to learn. So over time, it's transformed a little.
And yeah, so what is the current version of you think success looks like, feels like, if you could describe what success was for you?
Today, success, I think, is um, a lot more subjective to me. Um, I have always been able to figure out something that I set my mind to. Anything that I've decided to do or um, like put myself into trying to figure out, I've been able to do it. I mean, that isn't to say I've been world class at the things that I've tried to do, but when I wanted to figure out how to edit video, I figured it out. There's never been an IT problem or a computer problem that I haven't been able to solve. There's never been a business challenge that when I put the full force of my mind to it, I haven't been able to like move forward. And so in that way, it's sort of been my experience that I'm not battling anyone else outside of me for success. Like if if you look at something that I try at, I'm already in like a very small minority of people because, most people don't try to do most things, right? Some people are good at cooking, but they never try to fix a car. Some people are good at, whatever their job is, accounting or bookkeeping, or they know how to edit a video, or they can build a website, or they can talk on stage, but they never try to, go to the Olympics and win a wrestling competition. Um, and the other side of that is true. There's people who want to go wrestle in the Olympics who never try to become an accountant. And so, like, if I were to compare the things that I try at to all of the people who aren't trying, like, it's super easy already just to say that I'm successful. Um, but I think that success for me is no longer about how good I am at something or how far I make it relative to other people. Success is about how far I'm willing to take myself relative to what I know that I can. I think, it's safe to say, well, I'm already better than everyone else, so that means I can, take a day off and I don't really need to try harder. And if I don't want to try harder, it's fine. But if there's a part of me that knows I could do better and knows that I want to do better and I'm not, then to me that's like the greatest form of failure. And so success would be like honoring what it is that I want and honoring where it is that I want to go, and then showing up and getting back into the ring and competing with who I was yesterday before I even think of competing with anyone else. So to me, success is a life where I show up and do that. And when I'm not, I feel like a failure. So I've been pretty dedicated to that.
That's wonderful. Thank you. And like everyone else in the world, your version, whether the 6-year-old stock boy and the current version of you was completely linear. There was no twists and turns in the road, and it was just absolutely, you knew and you found this path.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, my contempt for authority has been present um, from the beginning. Like, I don't know that I've known what I want to do, but I have known that I was going to give the finger to just about everything anyone else wanted me to do. So, like, I don't have the challenge that I think a lot of people have, which is like, wanting to be liked or wanting to please some authority figure. Like, I'm not really too concerned about that. And at times that can skew towards the petulant. Um, but but regardless, has really helped me carve my own path. Like, um, yeah, emotionally disconnected, but super helpful for me in my journey. Like to like wake up in the morning and be selfish. Ironically, like that path has led me to employing a team of 30 people and building a business that supports a whole bunch of families and helps us serve our clients and stuff like that. So it's been super cool because I've created all kinds of opportunities for the people that I care about. Um, and it hasn't been so bad as some people would have wanted me to believe when they thought I was uh, mostly just rejecting the system or um, refusing to do the right thing.
The right thing. So every decision has, if we take the analogy of a knife blade and a decision to go into and create the storefront or the business front of Measurable Genius, there would have been the naysayers to say, are you nuts? And then there would have been the Alexander Ford that's going, no, this is the right thing. With all of the naysayers around, is it just pure, this is what I'm going to do? Or is there was a higher calling to move you forward? Or some of that just screw you, I'm going to go and do this kind of to drive you forward?
There's been some moments in my life where um, I have taken like a risk or um, taken a step forward. I remember one time in particular. Um, there's been a number of times in my life where it's like we're in a challenge. Like we need to figure something out. I'm gonna run out of money, can't pay the bills. Like something needs to happen, right? And um, luckily enough, there's always been some path forward through those things for me. Whether it's been support from my family or timing in the market in terms of customers showing up and shifting the course of my destiny. But there's been times where the heart of your question sort of lies, where it's like, uh, what did it feel like to come to terms with a decision or make a decision that just seemed crazy? And um, to me, the way I've looked at those things, particularly this one example, I um, had made a commitment to someone that I loved, and I was going to spend a weekend with them, and it was like super important, and it was one of those promises that I had made like a few times in my life. It was like, hey, KK, I'm going to make this up to you. I'm definitely going to do it. It's going to be right. And it felt like important and meaningful. And um, you know, a couple days before the weekend, I ended up at this public talk that was being delivered by a man who would become my mentor. And I'm sitting in this public talk and he's talking to me, and it's as if it's like this divinely guided conversation. Like it's just him and me in the room. And I'm like sitting in my chair, hearing him talk to me. And he says, if your intuition is calling you to come to my live event this weekend, like I want you to come. And I'm driving home that night and I stop for gas and I'm like standing next to my car and I'm thinking like, um, man, I am gonna do this crazy thing. Like, like it wasn't like, should I? It wasn't like I was like wrestling with a decision. It was like not, and it wasn't like something outside of me was telling me. It's like inside there was a truth. And and I could feel it and I could see it. And I like it's close, it was closer to coping than deciding, you know? I was like, oh my God, I am gonna do this crazy thing. Like I'm gonna do it. And like maybe just my life is gonna totally fall apart. Like maybe just everything is gonna fall apart, but it doesn't matter. I'm gonna do it. And um, you know, maybe that's my risk tolerance. Like there's been a whole bunch of examples like that where I'm like, I get it. I don't really characterize people as being naysayers. For me, I know that that's like the theme. Like there are people who are like, Alex, that is stupid. That's a stupid decision. I don't know why you're doing that. Like that whole thing. Like, you know, there's times with my father, he's like, I don't know. I really don't want to like even know what you're doing. Like it's too risky. I don't even like it. But for me, the energy has never been like, oh, should I, shouldn't I? You know, that's more like the day to day. Should I hire this person? Should I not? Should I make this business decision? Should I not? Should I do this for the customer? Should I not? But like in the moments of like real clarity for me, it's been like more of a rationalization or a recognition that I'm about to do something crazy and I don't need to know why. And it might screw my whole life up, but I'd rather have the whole world against me than my own soul. So I'm going to do it. And, you know, I'm just like crazy committed to that. I want to live my best life. And, you know, so far it's worked out. I haven't died yet.
Excellent, because that means that I was able to connect with you here. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad.
So you made an interesting comment. You said that your soul, I'll put words in your mouth. You said that you had this soul connection. Your soul spoke. I'm putting words. Soul spoke to you.
Yeah.
How is it that you know? Like many people, and I'm going to say there's everybody is open to the opportunity to your soul speaking to you, and I think that it's a possibility that that's what turns the average person into a successful person, is that they listen to that soul or this calling. Is it a quiet voice for you? Is it a big voice? Is it just an upset stomach? What is it for you that you know that this is the soul speaking?
Um, wow. With That's a tough question. Something that I feel is true for sure is that there is a competition between the voices on the outside, and the voice on the inside. Like, um, I know that it's definitely hard. It's much harder to listen to my inner voice when I am preoccupied with outer voices. So, um, without becoming too clinical, like for sure, there's a step in this process where we need to find a way to like push away those outside voices, whatever that might mean. Finding
Yes.
time for contemplation, meditation, breathing, like calming the nervous system and getting present. Like there's like a whole catalog of research and, you know, theory and practice that can go into that.
Or just
But
filling your vehicle up full of gas.
right. But that doesn't answer the question, how do you listen to your own voice? That's like a step. It's like, well, quiet the outer voices and it gets easier. Um, But like, uh, for me, I think the way I want to answer this is that it is a gamble. We get to gamble on what we believe to be right. I think if I wanted to be confrontational, or if I was speaking to someone who would be offended by this, I would say, um, you know, like we know, the knowing is there. It's not a matter of how do I know. That's not the question. The question is, why are you not listening? Why would you resist the calling? Why are you not picking up the phone? I think there's agendas there. Like, we have an agenda to stay safe. It's going to challenge the status quo. We are afraid of feelings of guilt and shame. We're in scarcity. We don't want to upset our parents. Like, there's a whole list of reasons why you might ignore it, but I don't think that there's necessarily a big problem in terms of listening or hearing it. I think if we could get to a moment of honesty, the answer would be we're hearing it. We're just not listening.
Thank you. And yeah, it was, yeah, I thank you. And I'm just like, oh, okay, we've still got a couple minutes. Um, so you mentioned that you had a mentor, but I'm going to ask, you could pick anyone that is successful in any venue or avenue that you um, choose, and just this person is just choose someone that's extremely. We both know Dr. John D. Martini, so maybe let's just use him. What do you think makes him more successful or keeps him successful than the average person, the ones that he's teaching, or just the average person on the street? What makes him successful? If there's one thing that only one thing, because there's probably many that you could share, but what's one thing that you see that keeps him successful?
John wakes up every single morning and asks, what are the 7 highest priorities I can act on today to move me towards my mission and to help me to fulfill my values that are truly important to me? He he builds his life around what's meaningful and important to him, and he works diligently to listen to his own voice and to ignore, to some degree, any other voice unless those voices align with what he believes is meaningful and important. He's willing to connect to that.
Wonderful. I love it. And we're 20 minutes is so fast and it's too fast, but if there's something that you could leave words of wisdom or a share that you would like to share with our current audience and our replay audience, and listeners, what would that be? What would you like to leave?
Um, Nobody wakes up in the morning uh, thinking about how to make your life better. We each need to take responsibility for ourselves, and we each get the opportunity to practice producing in this life and creating in this life um, anything it is that we might like to try to create. And we have an environment to contend with, and we have resources to accumulate or to lose. And like, the game is complex, but ultimately, I believe that we create our own success to the degree that we take responsibility for that creation. And if we choose to focus on that responsibility and to properly care for ourselves and the people or the things in our lives that we genuinely want to take care of, then everything else sort of takes care of itself. Um, and like, I would pick a very narrow minded approach and, start here, start with me. I've created a life where I'm able to take care of other people, but that didn't happen until I learned to take care of myself. this whole thing for me is happening because um, I'm willing to take responsibility for the life that I want to create, and I'm just doing my best to do that every single day. And here we are, incremental progress.
Wonderful. So we're out of time. I want to thank you, Alexander, for taking the time to share with our listeners and our viewers and sharing your genius with us. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.